Good.
Okay, welcome everyone. I thank you for joining on the board meeting again virtually. Angela, what is this, our fourth meeting
I believe
virtually?
I believe it's the fourth virtual meeting.
And it's good. We're now used to technology, so now we get to change, and the next meeting will likely be in person. So now that we're used to technology, we're going to go back to in person, I guess, the next time we meet. But thanks for everyone who's been tolerating the technology and making it work for us. So thank you very much, and welcome again. I'm going to open the general meeting. And with that, I have the agenda in front of us. Angela, do you want to put it on the screen, or does everyone have it? I think everyone's got a copy of it. Yeah. Okay. Can I get a mover for the agenda as presented?
I'll move.
Thanks, Michael. A seconder?
I'll second.
Thanks, Isaac. Any discussion, changes, alterations on the agenda? If we're good to go, maybe I'll just go around the horn. Cindy? No, sorry, the motion's on the table. We need to approve the agenda. So I'm assuming you're approving the agenda?
Hey, yeah, sorry.
That's okay. Glenn?
Yes.
Isaac?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Andrea?
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you, folks. Item number 4, declaration of conflicts. Any declarations on the floor? Oh, Kyle, was that you wanting to get in?
That's just clearing my throat.
Was that a conflict? Great. No declarations. We'll move to item 5, approval of the minutes. The minutes are attached, I think, of the last meeting. Angela, did we send those out as well?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
I got it.
Can I get a mover and a seconder for the minutes?
I'll move.
Thanks, Michael. Seconder?
Oh, come on now, somebody.
Anybody want to second it?
I'll second that, Ivano.
Okay, thank you, Andrea.
No problem.
Any discussion about the minutes? Any changes, omissions, errors on the minutes? Hearing none, can we go around the table to approve the minutes? Cindy?
Yes.
Glenn?
Yes.
Isaac?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Andrea?
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Item number 6, moving along nicely. Report of the chair. Just giving a verbal report. There's no formal written report. Everything is moving well. Post our changes on the July meeting in our new budget and our communication. Thanks to Cindy, Taylor, Matt, Isaac for getting the mid-year report out. It seems like it's gone out. I've read it. It looks great. Not sure, Angela, if we've had any feedback on some of the materials that we sent out in terms of the update.
I haven't actually received any feedback from it, other than that someone noticed that it went out from Taylor.
Great. So I want to thank you guys for putting that together. It starts our communication plan, and we're on a path to trying to do a better job engaging and communicating with our membership in terms of status updates. So thanks again. I don't have anything else. I think we're still in the summer months. There's no events or programs to speak of, and not many issues that have come up to the BIA in terms of things that we have to put our arms around in terms of issues. But so barring that, I'm going to hand it off to Angela at least to give the office manager update and let us know how things are going there. Angela.
Okay. I don't have a whole lot either. We have been moving forward with working within the budget, starting to get some ideas for blogs and videos, which we'll be working on starting not next week, but the week after, going out and trying to get some of these done, at least to get the raw footage. We can always do the editing later on and get them out and posted. Yeah, other than that, it's pretty much status quo. We haven't received much feedback from members lately. We will be going out. So the communication piece went out yesterday. Our plan is to wait until the 10th and start contacting some of the members, either in person or phone calls, to see how they're doing. Also to encourage them to do the surveys, because we have had quite an intake on the surveys this week. Partly, I think, because Taylor boosted the post on Facebook, but then also I noticed that one of the city councilors put it on their Facebook and encouraged people to fill out the surveys, which has really increased the number of resident surveys that we've received, as well as a few of the business ones. So, that's about it for now.
On the survey side, Angela, anything that came up that is a surprise or a different direction from?
Well, I
what we're
did
doing?
have Roger, because Roger's the one who's been working on that with the capstone students, and they did a preliminary summary for us. So he pulled out some top points. So from the business survey, a number of, I guess the top reason for locating their business down here is they like the downtown. One of the things that they, excuse me, excuse me, one of the things people would like to see downtown from the business point of view is a grocery store. Their biggest concern is the unsheltered population. They recognize that some efforts of the BIA the needs city support or should be responsibility of the city. And those are things like beautification and parking, which the city is the ones that are doing that. Parking and unsheltered population are the trending topics in most of the unopened questions or open-ended questions. And then, as usual, many of the businesses have mixed feelings about the events, because some people say that they help their business and some say that they don't.
The what? I didn't hear what you said.
And so a lot of business owners, there's sort of mixed feelings in terms of the events, because some people feel that they help their business. Other people feel that it's a detriment to their business.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then the resident survey, one of the reasons for wanting to live in the downtown is that it's close to amenities. I guess the top used service in downtown is the dining. Concern is unsheltered population, crime, litter. So
really on litter, because I thought the city's been around doing the sweeps and things like that.
it's just someone's perception, right?
Okay.
They may not even be down here, but that just might be their perception.
'Cause
Same with the
I know-
crime, right?
I know with the parks, they've been in the park every day. They go in at least twice a day, once in the morning and once near the end of the day, to pick up all the refuse that's there. And I know there's a lot. So I think the city's been doing a pretty focused job on trying to stay on top of at least the litter side of things. But
Yeah, and also they come around daily with the guy in that little vacuum machine cleaning off the
Mhm.
sidewalks. So,
Yeah.
it could be that maybe they're seeing stuff in the planters, because people will put stuff in the planters, and who knows. So again, one of the things that people would like to see downtown is grocery store and more retail. 85% of the respondents think that we can increase community in downtown. The events, they like the new ideas as well as the old ones that we have been doing. And at least 50% of the people that responded from the residents say that COVID-19 impacted them from coming downtown. So they're just not coming downtown because of that. And then again, the unsheltered population and cleaning up was a trending topic in the open-ended questions.
Okay,
So-
great. Well, we'll learn a lot from it. I think that's great. We'll get the updates from the different committees and that'll feed into it. Sounds like we got some work cut out for us to try and address some of these things a little more directly than what
Yeah.
we're doing
And
today,
the survey is
'cause-
going to be open until at least the middle of August. So we're still hoping to push to get some more responses as well. And I'd say that was it for my report.
I think we've lost our fearless chair.
Yeah, so does the vice chair want to take it?
Oh, he's okay,
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
was
he's
wondering-
frozen.
okay. Okay, so the first committee report is economic beautification. So I'll just talk briefly on economic, and then Jeanette, you can take over for the beautification. Is that okay?
She's not here.
Oh, Jeanette's not with us?
No.
Oh, sorry. Okay, so for as far as economic is concerned, I noticed there's a lot of empty spaces downtown, which I'm really not. Oh, are you back?
I'm back. I'm so sorry, guys.
Okay. So we've moved into the economic beautification update.
Yeah, go for it. Keep going, man. Thanks for stepping up.
So as I'm sure everybody has seen, there's lots of empty stores downtown, most of it due to COVID. And so the Discover This Space winner for this year is doing very well. And we're really quite happy with the results of that. She has 2 or 3 other massage therapists with her there. I noticed she's done a lot of Facebook work, social media posting and things. So our feeling is that the best way to continue forward to fill those empty spaces is to run the Discover This Space again, and perhaps have 2 or 3 winners if we get enough qualified candidates, and see if we can fill those spaces. So that's kind of what we're working on the economic front at the moment. And so, Angela, maybe you can just talk a little bit about this Festival of Lights and the pole wraps.
Sure. I guess earlier this month, I went out and did an assessment of all the pole wraps because I knew that I had heard that there were some issues with some of them over the winter. So we went out and did an entire assessment. There were a couple where the wraps are actually not adhering properly. And there's about 4 that had rips in them. And then there was a number of them that had graffiti on them. So we contacted the company. They are coming out hopefully within the next 2 weeks to repair the ones that aren't adhering. They are also going to repair the rips. The rips are not covered under warranty, but they're giving us a really good rate to repair them. We also sent pictures of everything so that they could see and be able to gauge what was going on. And I thought that the pole wraps were anti-graffiti. Apparently they're not, but apparently the graffiti comes off quite easily. So they are going to be providing us with some wipes that are special to remove them, and we'll see how well that does. So as soon as we get the wipes, I'll get some volunteers, and they'll go out and remove the graffiti off the poles. The Festival of Lights, there's nothing really to report. We've contacted the company, and everything is being put off until next year. So the production has halted, and we'll contact them in November or December to let them know to start up production, and that will be budgeted. The remaining payment for the rest, for the product and the shipping and everything, will be put in our budget for next year.
Angela, on that one, did we talk to the city to see if they're still going ahead, or maybe Kyle, you can speak to it on whether they're going to do some Bright Mary Festival this year or not, or they're still under
So I did reach out to the events team, and basically they're going on a month-to-month basis as things are slowly changing and evolving. So at this point, they don't know what's going on, but I'm sure as soon as they do decide one way or the other, like if they decide that the tree lighting ceremony in Brighton Mary will go on, they'll contact us because there's a number of partners that pull that off. So there's like the library, the RMG, the city, us, and also one of the churches. So if they are going to go ahead, I'm sure they'll reach out to us to see if we can participate as well.
Okay, great. Anything else, Glenn, on economic
No.
beautification update? Great. Michael, on governance?
Yeah, so actually I forgot earlier, I'm sorry that I need to add a piece to this. So if we could add number 3, which is regarding employee and board surveys that was crafted by our wonderful new subcommittee, the working on communications. So Cindy and her team, I think Matt has also been helping her work on that. So just want to speak to that and maybe put a motion towards the board as governance committees looked at that and want to move forward with that. So first off, we've got the Integrity Commissioner City report. So sorry again about this. It's kind of a long time coming, but I've had time to read through the 150 or so pages that makes up this report, and it's not too scary. It's fine. Well, basically what we're looking at is it's not the Integrity Commissioner hasn't done a report. It's the City Commissioner who's done a report regarding appointing an Integrity Commissioner for the city. And the BIA has kind of been wrapped up in all of that. So it applies to City Council and it also applies to us. So those are the two people that this applies to. Sorry, I'm just pulling up my notes here. And then what that looks like in general is they made 3 different recommendations. So one, we've appointed a Integrity Commissioner. So that person's job is to look at 3 different things. So one is a way for City Council members or board members to contact the Integrity Commissioner and then get an opinion on to whether some procedure or policy or thing that we're doing is in line with City Code of Conduct and our bylaw. The cost of that is $239 an hour to the board. City's budgeted $20,000, but although they've included us in this process, they haven't included us in the cost sharing. So that would come out of board revenues if we were to use the Integrity Commissioner for that. The second piece of it is they want a process for the public at large to make a complaint to the Integrity Commissioner. So either public, board members, anyone can make a complaint to the Integrity Commissioner regarding either City Council members or board members breaching either the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act or the City Code of Conduct. So should anyone, the members at large, think that we have gone offside of that, then they can, there's 2 processes. One, they can make a complaint into the person directly and see if they can resolve it, or they can just go straight to the Integrity Commissioner. And the Integrity Commissioner will take a look. There's a specific forms that need to be filled out depending on what needs to be done. They'll take a look. If they think there's enough there, they can launch a formal investigation. The results of that investigation would be posted publicly on the City of Oshawa's website. And the Integrity Commissioner, if they find wrongdoing, could recommend either a reprimand or a suspension of pay for up to 6 months. So that's pretty much the teeth of that. And the third recommendation from the report was to amend the Code of Conduct to get in line with the Municipal Act and also to bring the BIA under the purview of the city's Code of Conduct. So board members do fall under that Code of Conduct from the city as amended. There's nothing too crazy in there, but it might be worth having a read because we do have to abide by the city's Code of Conduct. It's we fall into that purview as well. So that is the long and short of the Integrity Commissioner City report. Any comments or feedback on that?
We would probably have to communicate something to our membership that we're pulled into that process or pulled into that function. The one thing I wasn't sure of, Michael, that you had mentioned, you had said there's an hourly rate if an investigation is launched. Is that hourly rate applies to us in terms of somebody makes a claim against us in terms of violating that? So we basically have to pay regardless of whether we can afford it or not.
Yeah, I think our board member insurance, we have insurance as board members, I believe, right? I think that indemnity insurance would apply. The city again, I mean, they lump us into it, but they don't do any work for us. And as far as the city commissioner goes and mentioning that, so they mentioned that the city council insurance would pay for that if there's a finding of wrongdoing or not of wrongdoing. So there's an investigation, there's no wrongdoing. But I believe our board member insurance would cover us for that as well. I haven't seen the policy, so I can't be sure.
Yeah, maybe we can give that to Angela and double check it. That's the directors and officers liability insurance that we have, but let's just make sure it's covered, I guess.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's pretty expensive hourly rate if something comes up. And
Yeah, expensive hourly rate, especially if someone's just putting a vexatious claim in. I mean, they give the authority to the integrity commissioner to outright not investigate a claim that they think are vexatious, but
yeah, fair enough. Okay, good update.
Quick question I have, Michael, does this have to still pass through council, or is this no, this is
a done deal. The integrity commissioner has been in for quite a while. I mean, as far as I understand, we got the reports after the integrity commissioner was already appointed. They're using the same integrity commissioner that the regional municipality of Durham is using, so they've kind of piggybacked on that process. And they've already amended the code of conduct to include us in it. So
okay, gotcha. Thank you.
Yep.
Great.
So, yep. Go ahead.
Is there anything? Do you want to cover your second item in terms of?
Yeah. So the ex officio board member status. Talk with the city clerk on this one. Pretty much, there's two roads you can go down. First one is, can we have an ex officio board member? The answer is no, but we would have to have the city change the bylaw. The city clerk was pretty adamant that that's a bad idea and it's going to cause problems down the road. And having two more board members on there that are ex officio, and then if they do get property in downtown, do we have to go back and change the bylaw again, or what's the optics of that? So there's lots of considerations about formally changing our bylaw to allow for that. And we don't. Starting point. Sorry, I should back up. Is as we know why this thing started, we don't have the authority to appoint new board members. It's set out by the bylaw, and we can't have non-voting board members on there. We can't have any other board members that are not specifically set out in the bylaw. So if we wanted to make a seat for U of IT or Trent, we'd have to draft a resolution and put it before council so that our bylaw would be amended to allow for that. So that would be pretty much our option. I think technically we could also put a resolution before the boards to allow for two ex officio members from each of those places. So I don't think that's not an option. It was pretty highly discouraged, and not to throw Sue and Kyle under the bus, but I kind of pushed back a little bit on the clerk and said, well, I don't see anything in there saying in our bylaw saying that we're going to have two members sit on the board, or two people sit on the board that don't have voting status that are representatives of the city. But that was kind of a stupid point that I made, because obviously they're city representatives. They don't engage really in the conversation or sway the conversation, just to add the input from the city. So they're city advisors, but did push back on that a little bit and got a sharp response. So.
Okay, so we thanks for that, Michael. We have to make a decision. I mean, I've been keeping Carol and Haley sort of at bay. They've been great troopers and still cycled in on our information, but wondering where we stood on the status of their appointment to the board. What do we want to do as a board? We have options. We want to push this through as an amendment to the bylaw for consideration, even though it's discouraged, we can still do that. Or do we want to get back to them and say unfortunately they're not part of the board?
Because this was a little bit of a heated and contested conversation, if I can remember it, when we first put them on, I am hesitant to move forward on this with only 6 of us here. I know that that's not
okay.
I would just like a more complete board to make that decision, just because again, I don't think we were completely unanimous, and I think it's a little bit of a touchy subject. I don't know what everyone thinks about that.
Anybody else?
Well, my feeling would be they're just not part of the board, but that doesn't mean we can't invite them to a meeting for input or information on specific things that arise come to the board meeting. Going down the road of changing this and changing that and all that kind of stuff, I just don't see the value in it. I think we can get what input we need from them without going that route.
Okay.
I
Anybody
share,
else?
I share Glenn's opinion as well. I think there's opportunity for them to participate without being full board members. And I do believe it opens a can of worms to have ex officio members that aren't BIA constituents on board. So I support Glenn.
Anybody else? Okay, we'll hold the vote off and a decision, I guess, until, from Michael's point, until we get everybody on the board and then get the entire feedback. I think I like the input. Thank you very much for that. I'll let them know it'll probably carry another month before we decide. I think, Glenn, to your point, they can always participate. They just can't vote. I mean, our meetings are open to the public. They just can't vote on issues, I guess.
Yeah, they wouldn't also be able to speak, or you can't, the rules wouldn't just be allow us to turn to them and say, hey, what do you think about that? Because they're in the room, we would have to invite them as a delegation, and there'd be set things. So they can certainly sit on committees though. And I think a lot of the really good work that they're doing and contributing is through the committees. So hopefully we keep them.
Yeah, great. Thanks for that update and the input, folks.
All right,
Michael,
so
you got a third item?
My third item, yes. So sorry again, I didn't put that on the agenda. The communications action plan that Cindy has very excellently worked on. I think Taylor and Roger and Matt and a lot of people put their efforts into this, and it shows it's a great plan. But just want to touch on a few things that came out of that as far as governance goes. So there's 3 different surveys that were created. One is the board meeting evaluation survey. So the idea would be short survey monkey survey. The board completes it after every meeting. So once a month. It would take like 2 to 5 minutes to complete. It's not extensive, but it makes sure that all the board members are on the same page. Nobody's feeling like they're not getting their chance to be heard. The board processes are fair, and just get a pulse on board members in an anonymous fashion, so we can, as a board, make sure that everyone here is happy and again on the same page. It's well crafted, so I would be looking for a motion to approve that, as well as 2 other surveys. So one would be employee survey. So this would be for all employees, volunteers of the board. We would get them to fill it out quarterly. Again, extensive, gets a touch on the board members, or not the employees and volunteers pulse on how they're feeling, and if they have any issues, where there's a good safe space to let that come to rise. I think that came out of the idea, or the understanding that there were some issues that we didn't really have anywhere for these people to go and give that information into the board, and we could have perhaps stopped some problems before they festered, and I think this is a good opportunity to get on that and do that again. Get them to fill it out quarterly, make sure that we can nip problems in the bud before they fester and become real issues. So that's the idea there. And then lastly, it would be an exit survey. So for employees or volunteers who are leaving the board on good terms, we would be asking them to fill out an exit survey. Again, get an idea. Exit surveys are great for giving people an opportunity to say whatever they want to say without any feeling of repercussion, because they're exiting. So what do they care? And sometimes you get the most honest truth in those times. So those are the 3 pieces. All of the survey results would be vetted through the governance committee. So for the board member update, we got a motion, and one of our members on the governance committee, Caitlin Ewell, who's not a director. I didn't feel it would be good for me to be reviewing those. She agreed to review the board member surveys and give me a report every month, so I can report back into the board about the pulse on that. And the other surveys would be vetted through the governance committee, likely me, to start, and then I would report to the committee and back into the board. So that's the piece there. Cindy, is there anything you wanted to add about that?
No, I think you spoke to everything really well. You covered it off, and it's just, I think it's exciting. It's a chance for us to tighten up a lot of processes and do better at keeping track of things and monitoring and making adjustments as we need to, instead of looking at things after the fact. So thanks.
Yeah, thanks for that work, guys. It's a great job. I like all those ideas. Do you need a formal motion on the table, Mike, for this one, or do you want to capture it as an approval when all the updates are given? Which way do you want to go with it?
I think I would like a motion to approve all 3 surveys being sent out
Okay,
and administered. Yeah.
Glenn? Oh, sorry.
Well,
I
I guess
thought you wanted-
if I'm putting the motion out there, then can I get a seconder?
Okay,
Yeah,
Okay.
great. Thanks, Glenn. Any discussion? Okay, going around the table. Cindy?
Yes.
Glenn?
yes.
Isaac?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Andrea?
Yes.
Great. Carried. Thank you. Good job. Thank you for that. You've got the go ahead. Just on the point of the board survey, when are you going to send the first one out, Michael? After this one or after the next one? Or
Why don't we just start moving and grooving on it? Let's get it sent out, and Angela will be able to send you a link for that. She'll send it on Monday because Friday fatigue and all, and so we'll get everyone a link to it on Monday, and you guys can fill it out and give this a go. That'd be great.
I think it's Thursday, but okay, I'll take the Friday fatigue. I'm with you on that one.
Well, you know, we sent it out today. No one's going to do it. Then tomorrow you've got Friday fatigue. Monday won't get sent out because that's a holiday. So really, it'll be Tuesday.
I like your thinking, man. I'm with you. I'm good.
Angela, is that
Great.
You're not by any chance a lawyer, are you, Michael? Putting things off?
we have a fun way of counting days in the law. That's right.
Yeah, you got that right. And hours, billable hours too.
Yeah.
They got their own
Angela?
medical system. I think lawyers do.
Angela,
quite
any comments on getting it out sometime over the next couple of days?
No, I'll just get the link and I can set it up and I can send it automatically for Monday if everyone wants it Monday.
Great.
But yeah, so it'll be out by Tuesday morning for sure.
Great. Thank you very much for that, guys. Good job. Marketing communications. Thank you, Isaac and Cindy, for stepping in. Matt is stepping down as chair of that committee. And because we've got the 2 communication issues or initiatives coming up, one sort of external facing to the membership and the other one external facing to people who want to promote, promotion of the BIA and get the activities related to increasing our foot traffic in the downtown use. We've got a lot of work, so 2 chairs is great. So thanks to Isaac and Cindy. Isaac, have you got an update for us today on marketing comms?
I do, and I'm going to save the communications piece because I know Cindy's going to speak to that when she gives her update. So really I'm going to focus, it's going to be a pretty brief update. And I'm going to focus on 2 line items on the budget, which is the website and miscellaneous advertising. So first on the website, so there's about $250 worth of budget spend left there for the remainder of the year. That's going to likely be enough to cover some of the domain renewals. So that's where some of that spend is going to go. Phase 2 of the website itself has been pushed off until January. I think there was discussions about that at our last meeting. So just a further clarification on that. So with respect to the miscellaneous advertising budget, there's about another $500 remaining there. And a lot of the staff right now are working hard to be as resourceful as possible with the limited budget that they do have. So a lot of that spend is going towards, if anything, social media spend, so boosting posts, stuff like that. And so that's basically how a lot of that is going to be spent, to my understanding. So outside of that, like I said, there's a couple other minor things being done. I mean, I know that there's the photo shoots and the videos that are being done right now with some of the businesses. So that's something that's being done. Again, there's not a budget implication to that necessarily. And that was basically it as far as an update. And I'll save, like I said, I'll save the communications piece for Cindy's update.
Great. Thanks, Isaac. Cindy, do you want to give the communications update, or do you want to wait to do it to your community development? It's up to you.
No, it falls under this committee, so I'll move forward if that's okay.
That's excellent. Yeah.
So we decided, obviously we needed to work on our communications, and then came to realize we actually have a marketing and communications committee. So I joined Matt at the last meeting. to talk about how this piece would fit in under that committee. And we had some really good discussions and some robust conversations about what to do. So the part of the issue is tabling. I know Andrea and Peter also wanted to contribute on that committee, just to make sure that it's okay if they're able to attend the communications and marketing meeting, or if there's another way we can include people who want to get involved. We just thought it would slide under that committee. So I just wanted to make sure everybody was comfortable with that moving forward. That, it works for you, Andrea?
Yes. Oh, I thought I was on mute. It does. Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, and you know, we'll continue to do our best to keep the board in the loop and send documents and whatnot, or updates like action plans, so that everybody knows where we're going with that, as well as the regular board updates. So just quickly, we kind of divided things into internal and external communication. So for the internal piece, what we've been working on so far, as Michael mentioned, enhanced feedback mechanisms on performance for board members, staff, volunteers, and students. We're updating the social media policy, which I think Taylor is finished. We're looking at staff, volunteer, and student exit surveys and questions to catch anything on the way out. We do have students currently, and we do have a lot of students rotating through, so that's a really good place to get ongoing feedback as to how the work culture and work dynamics are going. Michael's also looking into some board governance training for us, and we do have that new meeting evaluation that'll keep the board updated as to how we're functioning as a board. Our external communications, we're focusing on streamlining our membership emails and identifying content by subject title and headings. We're also looking at exit interviews for businesses who are leaving downtown. So those are businesses that we know are closing. We want to find out why, what's going on, to see if we can, you know, do anything to mitigate leaving. I know with COVID, there's extenuating circumstances, but it'll still give us an idea of what's going on. We have our new board email account. So that is accessible at our website. If anybody has an inquiry, it goes directly to all board members. So we have an automatic reply to respond to that, and we have a plan in place to address any inquiries. Initially, I think I was a little bit worried we would be inundated with emails, but I think the link has been live and we haven't received any emails to date, so it might not be problematic after all. We brainstormed different ideas to get some more external communication and our membership involved. So we're looking at personalized town halls or invitations to personally speak to the board at large. And that would be scheduling meeting times, especially with COVID. Looking at volunteer recognition and volunteer committee member participation. So looking at things like social media spotlights, on our website, different volunteer profiles, and that's going to help us hopefully with appreciation and recruitment. And we have our annual survey circulating currently. So as far as our public relations go, we did send out the mid-year update. So that's really highlighting what we've accomplished, to keep that in the forefront of our members' mind when it comes to things like budget, so that they know we are actively doing things. We have a plan, we're following through. There has been quite a bit of negative press lately regarding downtown Oshawa as being a frightening place. The Canadian security issues with the procurement of their services downtown. But when we did kind of a light media scan, there's other cities also experiencing the same stressors. There was also some bad press in London, Ontario, with almost identical headlines. So we're not alone in it. The good news is the BIA stepped up. We recognized there were some gaps with communication regarding the Canadian Service Protection downtown. So we contacted the bylaw office, got some information going, and circulated an email to our membership to let everybody know the scope of practice there, contact numbers, what their purpose is, really reinforcing to our membership that they were one of, I think there were 7 different initiatives from the city to try to enhance downtown, and gave members the opportunity to fill out a waiver, which had to be completed in order to have CDN on their property. So that was a good catch on our end, I think, to really bridge that communication. And we're still working hard. We have a communication strategy with ongoing updates to our membership during COVID, during our staffing restructuring, during our budget overhaul. So just really to keep the membership in the loop more frequently and keep us ahead of the curve of any potential stressors or backlash from membership not feeling engaged and not feeling informed. So that's basically where we're at with the communications plan right now.
Great update, great job. Thank you. Lots on the go, and certainly, like you said, we were definitely pivoting on some issues that came up that somehow we missed the mark previously, or somebody missed the mark on communications, and specifically this polarizing CDN issue with security. Our members definitely want security to be improved, you know, as part of the welcoming side of being in the downtown. But certainly there's a group of people that are opposing how it's being done and who's being used, and that wasn't our selection. But Kyle, I know the city's all over that, and you're working with people to get better communication out there as well. So great job. Thanks, guys. Any questions for Cindy or Isaac?
Just a comment on the governance training. I forgot that I already asked about that. So the clerk was a little bit annoyed with me, but we aren't getting the governance training until after the review of our organization has been complete. So she's said, yes, we're going to do the governance training. Yes, we are, but not until, as I've said before, not until we were finished our review. So they're on top of that. They'll definitely be, I'm sure, eager to implement whatever recommendations they give us as a result of our report, and governance training will be part of that. So.
And that's a good point, Michael. I mean, I'll give the update on the audit section. I mean, the city, we have inquired on where they stand with the review. It's mostly financial, although they've pulled all the documents. I think they've extended the review to look at the business operation as well. So, I mean, I don't think it should stand in a way of training the board. I don't think there's going to be any issues really flagged that are detrimental to the board in that respect. However, we'll respect their point of waiting on that training till later. Excellent.
Do we know when we can expect that report? Like,
the initial stab was September. I'm trying to get it sooner, but I'll let them do what they have to do on their end.
Yeah. Okay.
So far, so good. Nothing huge to report, but they're not done, obviously.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Community development, Cindy.
Okay, I'm back. So Welcoming Streets, as I mentioned before, Welcoming Streets, CDN, they're all part of a multi-pronged approach from the city to deal with some of the issues downtown. We now have porta potties downtown. I'm not sure if anybody's seen them, but they're in various locations to help with some of the issues we've been experiencing. There are now 4 people on the WSI team. There's 2 outreach workers, 1 harm reduction worker, and 1 outreach worker specifically for Indigenous people. Haley is getting a student to work with Kyle and Sue in the fall, so she's working on securing that. And Haley is also crafting a WSI update to go out to our members to keep them up to speed with how the program's doing and the direction that they're going. So the communications update, yeah, I already addressed that under marketing and communications, so there's not much to say there. The only difference in the committee, previously we were focused more on kind of accessibility, making downtown, which is still our focus, but in light of all the recent changes downtown, we've somewhat shifted our committee mandate to focus a little bit more on the unsheltered population. It seems to be a concern of our membership and an ongoing issue. So we now have someone with lived experience with being unsheltered downtown sitting on the committee. We've done a bit of a recruitment looking at various members who we feel might be able to contribute robustly to the committee as well. And we're looking more at how the BIA can be looped into coordination of services to assist with the city and the existing services, and as well as a bridge to keep our members informed and make sure that our members' voice is heard. And in order to do that, we're even considering reaching out and coming up with a bit of a position paper to go forward to the city by saying, this is how the businesses feel downtown, this is what they feel may or may not be helpful, just to kind of give a voice and keep us actively in the loop of that ongoing issue. The RAD project. So that's the ramps that Angela's been working so hard on. So we've secured a grant and we had a student go, and all the background work has been done as far as looking at suppliers, which businesses could benefit from the ramps, who's going to construct them. We did have opportunity to request additional money. Our biggest block right now, and Kyle, I am throwing you under the bus because for months now we've asked somebody from the city. You expressed there were some concerns around insurance. We've tried multiple times in multiple ways to reach out to talk to somebody at the city to find out the process we need to engage in to vet this, and we have had zero success. So it's kind of an issue for us in moving forward. We're really reluctant. We respect that there may be issues from the city and insurance, and we want to make sure we do this right. But we're running out of time as far as process and grant money and securing things. So we really need an answer, and we really need to know who can help us with that.
All right. So I have a sense of who we need to talk to, so let me make a call or two.
Okay, how can I hold you to that? Can I have a date or a time or something? Because I know we've been here before, and it's just frustrating for us because, like I said, it's been months now. So I don't know.
Tuesday.
Awesome. Okay, I appreciate that. So hopefully we'll hear from you Tuesday or Wednesday next week.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I do appreciate that. Okay, and for our budget review, the Community Development Committee, since our mandate has shifted a little bit, we're looking at more advocacy. Right now we're doing, we're obviously not the only downtown urban center dealing with these issues, so we're just doing an environmental scan with North American and even international programs and ideas, and not that we're going to solve anything as the BIA, but so that we can be informed when we do hopefully get to sit at tables of the city and other service providers. We're in the loop and we have something valuable to contribute. So we're just kind of rallying on our side to come forward with strong ideas and well-informed approach to helping be a solution. And lastly, it's not in the agenda, but we were approached by Grandview. They have a Get Active challenge, and there's opportunity for us to get a BIA team together to contribute in this program, and it's just a fundraiser, but we thought it would be a good way for us to start engaging in a sense of community. So you may be approached as a BIA board member to join the team, and we might extend that out to our BIA membership. So again, just starting in the initial stages of rallying a sense of community of the BIA, getting people involved in different ways, hopefully networking, and just providing opportunities for people to feel that we are creating a community through the BIA. So that you may be hearing from us soon regarding that Get Active challenge for Grandview. And does anyone have any questions or any points of clarification? And that's my report. Thank you.
You're mute. You're muted, Ivano.
You're absolutely right, Glenn. Thank you for that. Sorry. Thanks, Cindy. Any questions for Cindy or and her update? Cindy, on your point around it really is part of community issue and the unsheltered population. I'm not sure what terms you want to put for all of that. I mean, there's a whole host of things that we're not solving. This is the prime issue that needs work. I know behind the scenes we've been talking about gaps that exist in terms of coordination, and so there's pull somewhere in there for us to somehow close the gap or bring people who are adjacent to the gap together in terms of overlapping or closing those gaps. So there's work ahead, but it's important to our members. So between the either communications or community development, I think there's something that good. Andrea, you're up.
Right. So the events report will be short and sweet because there is no events.
Let's see. We are looking into having some virtual events, which would be great for the winter months coming up. The girls in the office is currently looking into different apps and platforms that we can use to host an array of these virtual events. So once that's been finalized and we kind of get a pulse on where we can land with a few of these online apps or event apps, then we'll choose one and kind of put something out there. In the meantime, we will be waiting, or I'll be waiting on the survey to be completed. I think it will be beneficial just to get the feedback from the members. There may need to be a follow-up survey just to kind of identify exactly what it is or where we're falling short. I know Angela mentioned earlier that some businesses feel that the events are not beneficial to them. So I think trying to get a sense of where that's coming from or what specific things they feel is not helping them, so we can fill those gaps in the future. Other than that, we do have that movie projector that we're looking to sell. So hopefully we can get rid of that, because number one, it needs to be certified, and we don't have the proper certification for it, and we don't have the space to keep it at the moment. So we think it would be best to sell it, and summer is finished. We're not really going to use it, so might as well get some money back that can be used for maybe some of the virtual events that will be coming up, which will be very minimal cost, but it might take a bit of more people or resources.
So if we're disposing of assets, do we need to do anything here? I guess my question goes out to the board members in terms of, do we need to vote on it, or Michael for governance? Or do we let the events committee just take care of it?
Yeah, I was a little bit concerned when we were talking about renting out stuff and disposing of assets and whether we had control to do that or not. I don't see anything in our bylaw that prohibits that. So I'm not too sure that we would be under any specific scrutiny. But, I mean, we didn't vote as a board to purchase it, so I don't see why we would have to vote as a board to sell it.
Fair enough. Anybody else?
Not only did we not approve it, we didn't even know about it.
Okay. So Andrea, over to you and your committee in terms of how you want to handle that.
Yes, so Angela's looking into it. I think we have one potential buyer that's interested in getting it, and we've put forth an amount, or I think she's going to put forth an amount. I mentioned an amount to her, so she'll put that forth. And the amount was $3,500, and we'll see where that goes or where we land on that specific figure.
Okay. Is that it for your updates, Andrea?
Yeah, that's it. Nothing much happening over here. Events, it's non-eventful.
Well, for a non-event, you certainly had a good update. So thank you very much for that, Andrea.
No problem.
Finance and audit. On 2019's audit status, we still have the question outstanding. Angela, I don't know if you've got an update lately in terms of the last couple of days, but we hadn't heard back up to a few days ago in terms of where our audit stands. KPMG is trying to get back to us, but no update given. So Angela, did you get anything in the last day or two?
No, I still haven't heard anything from them.
Kyle, maybe a little bit over to you in terms of the city. There was some hint that the city's audit is complete, and because we're doing this review with the BIA, KPMG is sort of on hold since they're the city's auditors releasing our audit. So I don't know if you can validate that or not. It just seems to be something that seems to be coming our way. It's almost a prudent avoidance kind of issue with KPMG. I'm surprised they're not getting back to us, but I tend to think that it may be driven by the city. Can you check that out for us?
Yeah, I'll check it out because I have no additional information at this point, but I'll talk to Stephanie and Michelle and kind of see where all that stands.
We'd like to clear our audit. I don't think there's any reason. We don't owe anything yet, anything more to the auditors. We think it's going to clear. We've been told it's likely to clear, but we haven't seen the final report. We've paid for it. I'd like to post it to our membership so that, again, the issue is somewhat behind us in terms of some controversy with respect to finances. We're now posting all our things on the website, which seems to be a good thing. this is one of those other items that we have to follow through on. So if you can help out, that'd be great.
I have a question on that, Ivano.
Sure, happy to.
Great. Thanks, Kyle. Go ahead, Mike.
The last time I think we were speaking, we were talking about getting the, isn't it Deloitte that's our auditors? And that they kind of like, well, we're on vacation and sorry and whatever. And we were going to try and get somebody to attend the board meeting and kind of explain about that or kind of hold
Yeah,
that. So what's our update?
you're right. Sorry, did I say KPMG? There are auditors, I guess, in terms of the utility, but no, it's Deloitte. You're right. Yeah, we asked for the partner on the file, and we hadn't heard back from them. They're almost not responding, and we're the client. That's what's got me a bit miffed. So I'm a little perplexed. I think they might be getting their direction from the city, but I'll leave it to Kyle to check out. I'm surprised that as an auditor, they're not responding to the client. So.
Yeah, and I think at this point, if they're not going to respond to us within a month's time in the middle of a key audit for us, and they're going to be going on vacation and doing all of this, I think they've got professional obligations. Like as a lawyer, if I was to do that to some of my clients in the middle of their most important things, like for sure I'm getting a complaint to the Law Society. So I'm saying, like, if we don't get a response from these guys and they're just going to continue not to cooperate with us, I think we need to put a complaint into to their professional organization because this is ridiculous. So.
I'll take that one. So that's fine. It lands on me. I'll have to send them that note. Sorry, go ahead, Glenn.
Well, you tell them that first, though. This is what we're expecting. If we don't hear from you, this is what we're going to do. Right.
Yeah, fair enough.
Like, I think it's always good to give warning and be transparent.
Yep, very good. Any other questions on the audit? June financials. Angela, we did issue the June financials to the team.
Yep.
No surprises there. It's chugging along. We put a lot of effort to to craft a new budget, a revised budget to year end. It's flowing as we expected. No surprise. Still one or two more adjustments in terms of refunds expected. So we'll see if you have any questions on specific line items. I think I'll leave it at that. I'm happy to entertain any questions. It's in front of you. Okay, not hearing any. That completes all the reports and updates. Do I have a mover to approve all committee reports updated and presented and discussed?
Yeah.
Thanks, Glenn. Do I have a seconder?
I second.
Thanks, Isaac. All in favor? Cindy? I was going to take it that's a yes.
I was actually being extremely lazy to take the mute off. So
Glenn?
Yes.
Isaac?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Andrea?
Yes.
Okay, passed. Thank you very much, folks. Great job. We're in for the in-camera session for Committee of the Whole. Do people want to take a 5-minute bio break to do this, or go right into it? It's up to you. We got to get out of this format into the go to meeting format, and then finish that item and come back. How do you guys want to handle it?
I'm okay to continue, but anybody else?
Okay.
So,
Okay, I'm going to
Ivano,
raise.
do you want me in the in-camera session?
I'm assuming that you are. That's a good question. I'm not really sure. Michael, on governance, are
Always at your discretion.
non-voting? Is it at my discretion? Michael, what's your thoughts on it?
I wouldn't say, when you're going in camera, I think as few people as possible would be in there. I don't know that we need any city input on this one, so maybe under that reasoning, probably best not to, or I don't know. What do you guys think with that?
Yeah, I take no offense, so whatever you guys want to do.
Thanks, Kyle.
I think that's a good point. I'm not sure that you have a vested interest in this one, Kyle. So in terms of city input in our decision that we're making there, I think if you don't mind hanging back and then dialing in when we come back in, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, maybe Angela could just flip me a quick note. You guys are back on, and I'll just log back in.
Great. We need to put a motion. I've got the motion in front of me that the Board of Management for the ODBIA enter into an in-camera session pursuant to 239(2) of the Municipal Act, thus this meeting to be closed to the public for reasons of personnel matters after an identifiable individual, including local board employee and or members. I'm raising that motion. I need a seconder to go in camera.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I'll second.
Thanks, Glenn. All in favor, Cindy?
Yes.
Glenn?
Yes.
Isaac?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Andrea?
Yes.
Okay, Angela, we're going to go in camera. We'll come back to you if you can keep the line open, and we should be done in a few minutes. So everyone, I'll see you on the other format. Thanks. Just Glenn stepped away for a second. Cindy, are you on? I think you're there.
Yep, I'm here.
Great, thank you. Give Glenn a minute to get back.
I'm back.
Excellent. Okay, do we have a motion come out of committee of the whole in camera? I guess I'll do the motion that the Board of Management for the ODBIA arise from committee of the whole in camera. Do I have a seconder?
Yeah.
Thanks, Glenn. Around the table, Andrea,
Yes.
Glenn,
Yes.
Isaac,
Yes.
Michael,
Yes.
Cindy.
Yes.
Okay, we're good. And Michael, do you have a motion for accepting the in-camera
Yeah, so
decision?
it'd be a motion that the board approve the discussions and determinations made during the in-camera session.
Do I have a seconder for that?
I second.
Thanks, Andrea. Going around the table again. Andrea, in favor?
Yes.
Glenn?
Yes.
Isaac?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Cindy?
Yes.
Okay, carried. Very good. Next agenda item. New business. City report. Kyle, do you want to give that on behalf of Rick?
Yeah, I've got 3 or 4 things I wanted to just put in front of the committee here or the board. First of all, we're working with Ontario Tech to look at options and sort of opportunities for reanimating the downtown core and helping to reinstall some consumer confidence. So this is a project we've been talking to them about for the last month, basically. And long and short, we've got 6 students that are going to be starting with us on Friday of this week, and we've got them for all of the month of August. And they will be doing 3 things. One is to look at what are other municipalities in Ontario and further afield looking to do to sort of reanimate their downtowns. And so it's going to be fairly wide ranging. You know, when we started looking at reopening and patios and things like that, we also had some conversations early on about, you know, do we need to be doing things around some street closures, some other kind of opportunities that are there, some car-free Sundays sort of thing, to really start to bring people down to the core. And we wanted somebody to look into that. So that's going to be that best practices piece. The second piece of the project is that they're going to be doing a number of stakeholder interviews, and we've got a list of probably about 30 stakeholders right now, including a number of the BIA members of the board here. So don't be too surprised when these students start to give you a call in about a week or 2. And then the final piece of the project is, okay, well, what are your options? What are the ideas that are coming forward? So was literally, it's going to be an August-long project. Ontario Tech has been great. Peter's been involved as a board member, and also as kind of the dean up there, to sort of get these students in place in terms of some of the federal funding that's out there to pay 3/4 of their wages for the month, and the city's picking up the other 1/4 just on our own. So anyway, long and short, that's going to be kind of an interesting project. It can start to create some dialogue and conversation. So we're actually kind of quite excited about it. So it's kind of look forward to that when it starts to come forward. So that's the first piece. Secondly, obviously our patio stuff is up and running. We're seeing sort of more and more of those starting to come in. Each one's a little bit different in terms of, we want 2 tables versus we want to close off street lanes and stuff, but the process seems to be working. And this is citywide, it's not just downtown. And I think we've actually probably got more uptake elsewhere in the city. And you see it as you drive around. People have closed off a couple of parking spaces in front of their plazas, and have got some distancing happening there. So that's ongoing. Just looking at my notes here.
Hey, Kyle, on that,
we've
Kyle,
actually got,
Kyle, on
yeah,
that,
go ahead.
on
Go
that
ahead,
note,
Ivana.
yeah, on that note around the patio spaces, we did have some inquiries around using our in-kind contribution from the city, allowing some of our members who can access that in-kind contribution to get to the city for their patio setup. So in other words, whether it's permit fees and or tables and the likes. I don't know if Angela's got I think she was approaching somebody at the city for that decision. Do you know if you can, if there's a decision, or you can push that agenda
So
for us?
I'm pretty sure we have no fees at this point. And it's really just coming down to sort of the technical requirements, because you got to have a certain spacing around, poles and street lights and all those sort of wonderful things, sort of just maintain the accessibility. So I haven't gotten a lot of pushback in terms of, we've been really very accommodating. We'll see how long it goes. But so I'm not following the issue quite. So I don't know if Angela can elaborate or.
Yeah, we wanted to see if we could use our in-kind services to help some of our members with things like possibly picnic tables or fencing, because some of them want to be able to use their parking lots. Now, I did ask the finance department, and they said that they needed a letter sent, I believe it was to clerks, which I sent, because they needed direction from staff, and I haven't heard anything back yet.
All right, let me check. So Angela, I have not seen that letter. Can you flip that off to me?
Sure.
Yeah. Because I know we're probably doing about sort of one every 2 or 3 days right now. So, I mean, there is growing interest, and we'll see how that sort of plays out. Just looking at, so the digital transformation piece, or the digital Main Streets, the funding that was announced a number of months ago. BACD has applied on behalf of Oshawa and a number of other the Durham region municipalities. We just got some confirmation, I think yesterday, that they're going to give us about $100,000, just less than that, to do the digital Main Streets piece. It's about 2/3 of what we had asked for, so they've shorted us a bit, but we'll figure that one out. So ideally, with that decision, we should have sort of a program up and running in a couple of weeks. And so at some point, we're going to have to come back to you guys to see if we can get your members more involved in sort of the uptake of that whole sort of digital sort of piece. Next item.
Yeah. Sorry, Kyle, on that one, if I could just
go ahead.
On that digital Main Streets issue. I mean, I think our last experience was not as great as we wanted for our members, and I think we take that learning and pivot on that and do better. We just want to make sure for our businesses, like the uptake wasn't there, so certainly we want to ride very closely with it.
Yeah, and I think previously the imperative wasn't there either. So I think we're actually expecting to have a lot more interest, I think, going forward this next wave. And we've created kind of a piece that is not just about websites. It's sort of what is your digital strategy? And this is where BACD is going to really be able to help us out with that. And we'll have students, we're not quite sure how many at this point given the budget, but from Ontario Tech and Durham College and Trent involved in that also. So just stay tuned. I think we'll be seeing more on that over the next week or so, just as we start to get more confirmation as to where we move forward on that. Another matter, we've been talking to TELUS, the telecom communications company, about mobility data in terms of where people are going out of their call it their home zone, sort of where you live and sort of where they actually going and spending their time. And I think we've actually got a license till the end of this year. It was not actually done through my group, but through somebody else. But it will actually give us a sense of pre-COVID, post-COVID, where were people coming from, to what districts around mobility. And the interesting piece for us then is going to be kind of see how that's changed between, a year ago to where we are today. What areas in the city were coming downtown prior to that, because that could help us do some targeting in terms of future marketing efforts and that sort of piece. And then ideally to link that to some demographics so we get a better sense of where we should be focusing our early recovery efforts in terms of getting people back in. So we hope to see that in the next week or so also. And then I'm just looking at my list here. Cindy had talked about Trent and welcoming streets and a student on that in the fall. So that's a good piece. And then finally, it's kind of this buy local, shop local piece. And one of the projects that came out of our last task force meeting was really kind of a storytelling piece, the faces of small businesses, local businesses. And so we're trying to develop a project around that. Sounds like you guys are already starting to do some of that in terms of videotaping some of your members and things. So we're going to want to get you guys involved in that going forward also. So that's kind of where we're at in terms of a few projects moving forward. Thank you.
Great, thanks for that update. Any questions by anybody? Great. Angela, do I need a motion to accept that update, or can we just accept it?
I don't know. I'm going to defer to Michael on this one.
Michael?
Motion to approve the city report.
Okay. Thanks, Michael. Do I have a seconder?
Yeah.
Thanks, Glenn. All in favor, Andrea?
Yes.
Glenn?
Yes.
Isaac?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Cindy?
Yes.
Great, accepted. Thanks, Kyle. Thanks for stepping up on that one. Next item, we don't have Peter Stewart. He had regrets to give the post-secondary update. I think Kyle, you touched on a couple of points that Peter's involved in. Unless you've got the update, Kyle, I think we're going to pass that agenda item on.
Yeah, just for the information of the board, I think we've heard both from Trent and Durham College and Ontario Tech conversations over the last number of weeks, and so we really are looking probably fall, primarily kind of an online sort of presence. They're going to try to get some of the students back for some of the practicum and the lab work that they need to do, but I think that's just going to be the reality. I think they're looking at probably 10% less enrollment going forward at this point. Trent's going to try to fill its kind of new student building, sort of one person per room versus having a roommate. So it's really kind of a work in progress. They're just like all of us in terms of looking at the reopening and sort of how quickly can they sort of bring people back. Long and short, I think we're going to see less of a student presence in the downtown, obviously, for the fall term. And then we'll see how the winter starts to shape itself up. So that's kind of what we're hearing from the universities.
Great, thanks. Thanks for that, Kyle. We'll pass on the update. We'll get that from Peter on the next go. Next item is correspondence. Angela, do we have anything that needs to be addressed by the board in terms of correspondence?
No, there was a correspondence that was passed around to the board just for information. So I believe you'll need to do a motion for that.
Okay. Is there any other follow-up from that correspondence, Angela?
I would just jump in to say that the correspondence was cautioning against providing contact information for individual board members and supporting an email for board members. So it's really just supporting the decision from the last board meeting to set up a board-wide email address.
Great. No follow-up then for that, Michael. I think we did that last time, I guess. Great. With that, we're done. Go ahead, Glenn. Go ahead.
I thought it was actually a decent letter. And if we've, like, is that how we've set up our emails, that if one member, someone sends something to one member, everybody gets it? Okay, so, which is great. That's good. I think we should just follow up and say we appreciate your concerns, and we have already implemented your suggestion, just something like that.
That's fair. I think we should acknowledge it because this person is taking the time to write in, express some concerns and support, and that shouldn't go unresponded to. Angela, are you able to send that on behalf of the board, or?
I've already sent that acknowledging the receipt and sent that it was sent to the board.
I thought you might have, and just to make clear that to that person that we've implemented that it's a board-wide email, that's what's happening.
They have been aware of that, and I believe when I was talking to a person on the phone afterwards, they were actually on the computer and found the email address on our website.
Perfect.
Okay, good.
Good job.
Excellent. No other matters. It's just before we adjourn, let's go around the table to make sure everybody's got their items covered. Andrea, do you have anything to add?
No, I'm good, thanks.
Glenn?
Yeah, just a question.
Anything you want to add? No.
When we were on the in camera, was Angela, are you in on those? No?
No, it's just board members.
So Ivano, are you, or do you want somebody to fill Angela in as to what we discussed as far as
Yes. Yes, I will do that.
Okay, all right.
And we're going to have to send something out to the board members who haven't been on that basically needs the update. So I'll talk to Angela about sending that out as well.
And then if we do have, so we've agreed that we're going to have a special meeting to discuss that information. Is that something that we would be able to do in person?
I think yes. I think yes. I think Angela, I'm going to defer to you. The meeting rooms are available to us, and we would be less than 50 people.
Yeah, so I know for the guidelines for Core 21, they're wanting us to maintain social distancing. We can use the front room, and we should be able to maintain the social distancing without a problem. As long as we use the events room, we can't use the boardroom because we won't be able to maintain that.
The meeting also has to be open to the public, although, so that's another consideration for having it in person.
Yeah, so I think as long as we have masks, like we can, without the masks, social distancing is fine, but as long as we have masks for sure. And we have extra masks in the office, so if public did come and didn't have a mask, or board members didn't have a mask, we could provide some.
I'd want to make sure too that any board member that didn't feel comfortable with that could voice their concerns and be heard, because I don't want to force anyone, even though public health guidelines say you can come in if you've got someone that's vulnerable in your household and you want to be extra cautious. I think the board should respect that as well. So.
I can check with the clerk to see if we have an in-person, if we can also have a Zoom session for anyone concerned with the social distancing. And so it would all be recorded.
Okay.
Maybe I'll send a note out letting people know that we are planning an upcoming meeting, and if anybody has any concerns, here's the boardroom etiquette that we would use for social distancing and or masks. And if anyone has concerns, let us know. We'll have to make alternate arrangements, I guess. Is that all right, Michael?
Yep, that sounds good. I just want to make sure we're accommodating and we don't
Yep.
know whoever. I'm living alone, so I'm good. But
Yeah. Good point.
as far as everyone else goes, I'm not sure, and I don't want to pressure anyone into something they're not comfortable with. Or
It'd be nice to actually get out. Lately, the garbage goes out more than I do.
Is that a gym thing? Isaac, anything to add?
Nothing more for me, no.
Cool. Cindy?
No, thank you.
Kyle? I'm
doesn't know.
assuming, I think I'm assuming not. Angela, do you have anything to add?
Just, I guess the only thing would be under the correspondence, are you receiving it for information, and do we need a motion for that?
Michael, do we need a motion to accept that information that came through correspondence or not?
I guess motion to accept the correspondence for information.
I'll second it. Andrea? Yes.
Yes, yes.
Glenn?
Yes.
Isaac?
Yes.
Cindy?
Yes.
All that's carried and going through. Anything else, Angela?
No, I think that's good.
And Taylor's on. We had her join in. So Taylor, this is your 5 minutes of fame. You get a chance to speak up. Anything to add?
No, I don't, but thank you so much for having me.
Okay, and thank you for again that correspondence and doing a good job helping us out.
Of
Sorry,
course.
Glenn, you wanted to say something,
Well,
Glenn?
I've never met Taylor, and I'm just kind of disappointed she doesn't have her video on, so I can put a name to the face to the name.
My Wi-Fi has been very spotty today, so I might have been missed in the introductions this morning because my video was freezing, but hopefully I'll meet you in person, and you probably also don't want to see what I look like at the moment.
Good comeback, Taylor. Good job. You're a good sport. Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn? Isaac, can you motion?
Yes, I'll motion.
Andrea, do you want to second it?
Yes, I'll second it.
Excellent. I'm not waiting. Okay, all in favor. We're all good.
Yeah.
Thanks again, everybody. Great job. Well, it's going to be nice to see everybody next time we get together. So thank you very much. Working with the technology and all the ins and outs we had to do for going in and out of camera. So thanks again. Very good job.
Bye, everybody.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Everybody have a good day.